I think I come from a mother and father who were married for, well, they coupled when they were about 8 years old, and they married when they were 17. And my father was the president of the International Association of Black Professional Firefighters. He started it, actually. It was the Black Firemen's Union. And he went all over the country to make sure black firemen got the same equal pay and rights and privileges and rank and chances for advancement as white firemen. What does that have to do with my answer? My answer is simple. While setting this up around the country and around the world, because it was the International Association, he had a woman in every city he went to. And he betrayed my mom. And I was the youngest of 4 children growing up in the projects in Brooklyn, Bushwick Projects. And my mother was a seamstress. She owned her own dress shop called the Unique Boutique, Floyd's Famous Fashions. And she designed stuff for like Nina Simone and Aretha Franklin and Dionne Warwick, who would become very pivotal in my life years later. But among others, in the 60s and the 70s. But I watched how my mother was heartbroken because of that betrayal. And then my uncles did it to their wives, and my neighbors did it to their wives. And I just vowed, watching my mother go through that kind of pain, I would never cheat on a woman. I would never lie to a woman. I would never look some woman in the eye and say, you're the only one, till death do us part. Because that's bullshit. We're just not hardwired that way. Not many creatures in the animal kingdom are hardwired to mate for life with one other. I know there's a lid for every pot, I understand that, but at the end of the day, we are not just human beings who occasionally have a spiritual experience. We have to remember that we are, first and foremost, spiritual beings who have, unfortunately, human experience every now and then. And what that means to me personally is that spirit is love, and love is God, and God is love. And love and God being one and synonymous are infinite. And if love is infinite, why should it be confined to one person? Now the fairy tale of you have a soulmate and it's just one for one, I still think is nonsense. And if it wasn't nonsense, then there wouldn't be an 75% divorce rate and a 95% cheat rate in marriages. And I'm just not going to do it. It's not necessary. I don't believe in swinging. Me and Wanda do not meet other couples and just swap spouses. That's not what we do. I don't believe in open marriage, where she gets to fuck and be whoever she wants to be with and not tell me, and I do the same. We don't do that either. So we're not in open marriage, and we're not swingers. Absolutely. We've had other men in our bedroom. As I said, we've had males in our bedrooms. They were guest stars. They just never got a permanent booking. It's the truth. I have seen my wife get dicked down by many men. And I got no problem with that. It's okay. Because at the end of the day, it's just another activity. We played cards, we baked bread, we played ball, we fucked. 12 minutes, 18 minutes, 42 minutes. Oh my God, he was a marathon man. He did a whole 47 and a half minutes. Who gives a shit? When it's over, her heart is still with me. My heart is still with her. It takes real secure people to be able to handle that. And most guys have been taught, unfortunately, by their fathers and uncles, whose pussy's this? Whose pussy's this? Who's mine? That's my shit. No, you don't own shit. God owns everything, including our children. Our sons and daughters, they don't come from us. They come through us. God owns us all. And when she calls in the loan of this life that she's given us, we go back to where we come from. It's not my wife, my son, my child. We are on loan to each other. And even time is on loan. Right now, I could keel over and drop dead if my loan was called in right now while I'm filming this. So knowing that, I have no control over anything.
Okay, let's go.
Okay. Sorry, a lot of my personal philosophy. So God comes to me as a kid, as a black woman, and I'm going on and on about God said this, Mom, and God said that, and God said this, and I'm at the breakfast table, apartment 7D, 24 Humboldt Street, Bushwick Projects, Brooklyn, and my brother, older brother, says, aren't you going to correct him? He's going on about God, saying God is woman, God this, and God she. My mother said, chill out. God can come to him in any geist that God would want to come into him. And God came to him as a woman. Maybe he's going to work with women when he gets older. Maybe he's going to change the world with women. And I cut her off. I said, God is a spirit, Mom. And God as a spirit is living energy, like a lightning bolt. And you would never have a male bolt of lightning or a female bolt of lightning. It's just energy. So God being a spirit would need to have a sexual organ because God doesn't urinate, defecate, procreate, or masturbate. I'm 3 years old. 3 years old. Rhyming like Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson and Dr. Seuss, okay? So my mother's like, oh. But when I met Wanda said to me, before we go any further, I hope you don't take this the wrong way, but when I see God, I see a beautiful black woman. I said, I'm going to marry you. And we formed a company back then called Goddess Empire. And we've built upon it ever since. Goddess Empire Entertainment, Goddess Empire Management, Goddess Empire Enterprise, Goddess Empire World Tours and Productions. We have built an empire traveling all over the world with Goddess Empire. We formed in the late 80s. So, I don't know what the hell the question was, but I hope somewhere in there was an answer. If you just go on the internet, you don't have to go very far to find it. One of the girls who entered our lives in 2007, her name was Arkini Turner, and she was hired to be my son's background dancer and singer. I hired her. And I should have listened to my wife and my son. They both are pretty intuitive. And they said, whatever you do. Well, no. sIAMeze said, Dad, she's crazy. I see it in her eyes. I'm like, yeah, but she's a great dancer. She'll be good behind you. And she was. Can't take that from her. She wasn't the greatest singer in the world. I mean, if she could hold a note in a bag with a handle. But still, she could dance her ass off. My son has such great energy that you would need someone with energy behind him. Then Wanda, let me go step by step. She became a dancer for my son. And then they became intimate, or they tried to be. I'm going to try to tell this in the fastest, gentlest way possible. My son, there's no gentle way to say it. My son is a three-legged man. He's got his mother's dick. I don't know where he got this 10 or 11-inch cock from, but he didn't inherit it from me. So if you're out there thinking, oh, he's got all these wives because he's just swinging lead, wow, I am not Mandingo, okay? Sixes do rule my life. I'm born the 6th month, the 6th day, 1966. My phone number is 702-666. It follows me everywhere. I was born at 6 p.m., weighing 6 pounds, 6 ounces. I have 7 6s on my birthday. Even my rooms today, they gave me my rooms. My friend said, for you, we'll give you the rooms for $66. I don't know. I can't get away from the number. But yes, thank God the 6s stopped there. I am larger than 6 inches. But I'm not 11 inches. I don't know where he got that from, but God bless him. Going back to Arkini, they tried to be lovers, and she could not physically handle him. Everybody's not a good fit for each other. And I'm being as honest can be. So they tried 3 times, and each time was worse than the last. Pain and suffering. And so one day he said, listen, I know you mean well and you want to please me, but I fuck hard, I fuck long, I fuck strong, I fuck deep, the way I perform on stage. And I need a lover that has to be able to handle that. And you're not it. He said, you're probably more my father's speed. And that's what he told her. Well, I remember that night, she came running down the hall. sIAMeze doesn't want me. I can't please him. I just want to be a part of this family. I can't please him. And so Wanda's consoling and hugging this child. And while doing this, she comes on to Wanda. Wanda said, no, that's not what I'm here for. I'm just here to tell you we love you. You do not, if you're not his lover. It doesn't mean you can't be part of the family. We're still going to love you. Now, this girl didn't live with us. She lived another part of Vegas. I'm getting back to the enemy thing. Okay. 7, 8 months passed. She's still working with us, still working behind my son, who's Vegas' youngest headliner, singing, dancing, doing her thing. And 7 months later, she actually made it to my bedroom. She actually, one day, she was having, what do you call those? Fibroids. She had fibroids. And they were painful, and they had swollen up, and they had to be taken out. She didn't have the money for the operation. So I offered to pay for it. And I did. She was in pain, and I gave her a simple massage and some tea and a heating pad to help soothe her. Apparently that wasn't enough. And I remember getting a text from Wanda. Wanda said, Eric, whatever you do not put your dick in that woman. Did I listen? Yes. Did my dick listen? No. It did not. Bad dick! Good dick, really. But still. So me and Arkini became lovers. And it was good for a while. She never lived with us. She would always be dropped off and picked up. Notice what I'm saying. Dropped off. Grown-ass woman. And picked up. Like in her 30s. Like late 30s. Dropped off and picked up by her sister Tina. Or her ex-boyfriend who lived with her and her family, Dale. Little white boy. Well, white man. Strange thing. She's just a black chick, of course. But I was wondering, how come she doesn't drive herself? That should have been a red flag. But that all was revealed to me later. I'm going to answer that damn question. Damn it! One day while making love to her, it just got through, I was still inside of her. And she said this to me, and it changed everything, the game changer. She said, I'm not saying I want anything to happen to Wanda, but if something ever happened to Wanda, would you marry me? My dick went. I said, why would you say that? Why would you say that? Something happened to Wanda? What do you mean something happened to Wanda? And I just recoiled and pulled out. I said, okay, this is over right now. Let me put my clothes on. She flipped right in front of me and became a different person. She grabbed her cell phone and said, Arkini knows what you're doing. Arkini knows you're pushing her away. Arkini doesn't want to be here anymore. Hello, Tina. Come and get Arkini. I said, why are you saying your name like that? Why do you keep saying Arkini in the third person? Are you fucking crazy? Arkini knows what you're doing. Arkini... They came and picked her up. Her sister, Tina Turner, yes. And her ex-boyfriend, Dale, who lived with them, strange. And Dale came back to me and said, yo, we were wondering how long it would take for her to really flip. I said, what do you mean? He said, Arkini's not really all there all the time. I said, what? He said, that's why we don't let her drive. She's often used the car as a weapon. She's broken more cell phones. We've got holes in the wall at home, holes in the door. She goes to at least a computer every 4 months because she'll kick it and destroy it if she doesn't get her way. And no one was going to tell me this? He said, well, no, you had her singing and dancing. She's in the element. She's singing and dancing. I'm like, yeah, but she's also fucking. I mean, living and eating in my household and around my kid and my... Well, this nut job goes on Craigslist, and it started. I was in New York with Connie Francis and Dion. We were promoting the Grand Diva show, 2010, I believe. And I look on Craigslist, and it says, Eric Floyd, devil worshiper and cult leader, con man, Eric Fraud. And I'm like, what? My attorney and I got hold of Craigslist. We got her removed. Went back up, got her removed. Went back up, got her removed. So then she found a site where they don't remove stuff ever, called ripoffreport.com. Now, it is not an official anything, no matter how it sounds. It's a blog owned by a guy who's a felon himself. His name is Dave, lives in Arizona. But you can post anything about anybody at any time, and it goes posted, and it sits there forever. I got like 4 ripoffreport.coms written by this girl, and the guys are different people with the same shit. My wife is a man in drag. Wanda never sang lead for the KLF. My son was adopted. He's also my lover. I've got AIDS, diphtheria, gout, tuberculosis, a hangnail, bad breath. I'm a devil worshiping cult leader, which is why I was born in 6666666. I've got girls in cages in my basement. Some, the ones that didn't make it, are buried underneath my pool in the sandbox behind my house, next to the pool, underneath the grotto. I've got girls buried there too. I don't even know stars. The reason I have pictures of me and so many superstars is because I meet them in I meet them in airports, and I happen to run up to them and say, "Hey, can I have a picture with you, please?" And I pose with them, and I pretend that I know people. She said, she vowed, "I will post stuff about you online so heinous that no one will ever trust you or want to do business with you, or certainly not be in bed with you. Like I have a tail, 2 horns, and a pitchfork." And she did it. And in some cases, it worked. Some people who don't know me will look at this stuff online and go, "Oh, shit, well, fuck that. I'm not." But those people who know me and know show business call me up and laugh because it's happened to them. There is no internet police. There's no cyber sheriff yet. So it is a fucking free-for-all. I've read one woman sued P. Diddy for $1 billion because she claims he told her after fucking her that he was responsible for the World Trade Center coming down. Google it. And then she sued him because her child was retarded because she said he got up, he was so upset, he kicked her baby in the head and made it retarded. I mean, Beyonce and Jay-Z's baby, Blue Ivy, is the Antichrist. I mean, there's so much shit, you can't take it off.
Have to be a vocal. I mean, how do you feel about the other wives?
I love them.
Uh-oh.
This isn't a fad, Frida.
You know, you have to like, you have to have an opinion about, how do you feel about it? Because like, are you jealous? Do you get jealous?
No, I'm the most secure person I know. I'm very comfortable in my skin. I'm not jealous.
You wearing
It's
pink?
a waste of energy.
Ladies! Cat!
I'm here, Dad.
Could you end that?
Coming.
It's already in it.
Thanks.
That too. And
Like-
when you love somebody, nobody has the right to tell you who you can love. And you know, I've always said that to you. If you love them, and you take care of them, and you respect them, and I understand what you're saying. I understand where you're coming from because Wanda was the first wife. Wanda is the first wife. But sometimes there needs to be something else, and you don't want to step aside and cheat. So if you're not gonna, if you've gotten permission from your first wife, and they can all love each other, and they can all be one family, then why the hell not? Why not? As long as everybody respects everybody's space.
It seems complicated to me.
It's quite simple.
Well, that's you, Frida. I mean, there are worse things that are happening in the world than people loving each other. I mean,
Well,
No one ever died of an overdose of love.
nope.
I say it depends on the person, but the people who's okay for you to say that's his first wife or whatever. If she doesn't have a problem with it and she's not saying nothing on it, and that's his first wife, it shouldn't be a problem.
That's what I'm saying. Is if she gives permission. She gives permission. She condones it. And so who's going to say anything else?
No,
If
okay.
it works for her and it works for them, if this entity works for the two of them as the first couple, then why not? I mean, I'm not going to say anything. Look who I married. Who's going to tell you who to marry? Don't even say anything.
what's wrong with? I know your husband, Ted Perlman.
I know you do. 38 years.
But you all are together. You don't. He doesn't have a.
Sometimes.
Oh really? Oh, tell me something I don't know. Huh?
Sometimes I need a break.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, I see what you mean by that.
Sometimes, child.
Well, you know, I have a long distance relationship, and my boyfriend lives in Montana, and sometimes I can appreciate my freedom, and my privacy, but there are times when I really would like to have him around more often, and I think if a man lived with me constantly 24/7 all the time, I think I probably would want to get a break every now and then, you know, but I don't know, maybe it's just the way I was just brought up, or maybe it's because I've always dealt in I've never been in a situation where I was living and, with other women, like concubines, and I was, let's say, the wife or whatever. I've never been in a situation.
Have you ever been
Oh,
cheated
they're
on?
not
I've been cheated on.
concubines.
Oh,
They're not concubines.
Hold it. I just want to know. Have you ever been cheated on?
Oh, yes.
Have you ever been the other woman?
Yeah,
So you've been both sides.
yes.
And neither one feels really good, right? Excuse me, Charisma.
Cheated on is a horrible feeling.
Mhm.
To be cheated on is a very hurtful feeling.
In our marriage, infidelity is off the menu. It doesn't exist. Infidelity doesn't exist. You know how beautiful and freeing that is? 30 years and the word cheat is not on the menu, the matrimonial menu.
Okay, Eric. You must be very well, let's say, your libido, your sexual libido must be very high.
Yeah.
But can I say I believe it's not all about sex?
It's
Because
not.
there's so many other
Right.
things that go
It's spirit.
that come along with a relationship. I am 38 years and this is my second marriage. So I've been married since Jesus was 2. Any kind of relationship that matters. You take away the sex, you got buckets. But there are things like just being able to sit down and have a conversation. Being able to sit down and watch a movie, and it's okay to hold on to your wife, whichever one you choose it to be. There's a thing called swingers that was around in the 60s. When my husband and I first got married, and once we were in somewhere upstate working, and this couple came to introduce their swinging life to us. But the girl just wanted to go to bed with my husband. She didn't know. They didn't tell her about me because I was going to kill her. It
That's
doesn't
what
work
I'm
for
talking
me.
about.
Okay, so it doesn't work for me.
Right.
But there were other couples there, and one of the other girls who sang in the group that I was in at that time, she and her husband went. They liked it. Luke liked it. They liked it. But it didn't work for me. But for those who it works for, I say go forth. And because if you're cheating with somebody and you're stepping outside your marriage, you don't know where they've been.
That's right.
You don't know what you're bringing home.
That's right.
Are you guys having the same conversation?
Well, no, but let me tell you how I feel. I feel like when I'm with someone, when I'm with a man.
This is not a nice girl, but this is a cannon.
Okay.
And I was in the room with it. This is a cannon.
She is a lot.
Yeah. Well, I don't even know her.
If I do.
That's what I'm saying.
It's a lot all day. All day. It's like, Jesus, can you just like.
I think it's the wounded bird syndrome. We always want
Maybe.
to try to fix the wing and make it fly again.
Yeah, I know.
She was raped at 12 years old because she let someone in the house. And she feels like it was her fault. Older guy followed her home. He watched her every day. And one day he knocked on the door and said, "May I use the telephone?" She's 12. She simply should have said, "Wait right there," or "F you." Instead, she left the door open, innocently went to get the phone, came back. He wasn't even in the doorway. She shut the door, wondered where the guy was. He was already in the house. And he raped her.
I'm not saying about fault. I'm saying judgment. Did somebody teach her judgment?
I wasn't there. Who knows what she was taught?
Did
Some of us were
anybody
raised by
else?
wolves. I wasn't. I was lucky.
Okay.
But you are a dragon.
No, but because I was also accosted by a teacher of mine, but I whooped him down like a dirty dog.
Dragon.
See? You were a dragon.
And I was a kid too. But I know that you're not supposed to go. So if you come up on me and you're going to try to take something from me that's my person, somebody in here fixing to die. It ain't gonna be me. It ain't gonna be me.
Die.
Die.
Fits
You don't
to die.
take from me. You don't take.
And Cheetah, I
from
want
me.
you to try to grab my mother's pearl nails from around.
You know what? I thought about it when she said that, but I was just like, I don't know.
She just go
I'm
snatch
starting to get my nails. They just growing back.
No, you did.
I'm listening to you two, and I'm not hearing anything, no compassion or anything. Have any of y'all been to jail?
Mm-mm.
Do y'all know what it's like to be in jail
Yeah, I
and be
have.
abandoned
I have been
and have
to
no
jail.
friends? Can you just be quiet for a change? Just for a
I
change.
have been to jail.
But
You
just
asked me
listen,
questions.
no, hear me out. I've been to jail. I know what it's like.
Mhm.
I know what it's like to have family turn their backs on you and friends who you thought were in your corner and being accused of something that you didn't do. I know what it's like. Y'all don't know what it's like. Being in jail and I'm sitting there waiting for somebody to contact me. And everybody just turned their backs on me. I understand where Satai is. That's why, Eric, you do what you have to do. And I'm going to be there tomorrow, too, in court to support her, because it's scary. I was petrified. I'm in jail, and people who don't even know you, you got to watch your back every single second, because you don't know if somebody's going to try to stab you or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So I know what it's like.
It'll be done.
Mm-hmm.
It's already been done.
Not knowing if you're going to get out alive.
That's why I said, Eric, go ahead. You know, go ahead and do what you have to do.
She's a tough woman, but she's a tiny woman. She's 5'2".
Yeah, I know, and Wanda, I know what you're talking about. I've never been to jail, but, I mean, just from stuff I've seen from you know, from movies and stuff like that.
It is not like the movies.
It's worse.
It's worse than the movies.
Will you be there tomorrow?
No.
When you see you should see her face. It breaks your heart. There's
It's like the life
terror
is
written all over her face.
You have no
That minute
rights.
of her being in court is probably the most scariest moments of her life, but it's a lot better than where she's about to go in 10 minutes when they get out of there. She's probably
Yeah.
It goes beyond that. You can't even get your hair done.
No.
None of those things. You gotta wear what they tell you to wear. You gotta eat what they tell you to eat. You have to stand at 4 o'clock every single day
And be counted.
and be counted.
The 4 o'clock.
Dress down naked.
You don't know who your friends are.
and she has nobody right now.
And nobody, no
Her own
family.
mother
Doesn't
won't
have
come.
family?
And she has
Her
nobody
Her
right
mother
now.
would have been coming.
You're about to catch case, like.
No, because she didn't even check for her purse after the whole situation.
Why are you stressing this man out about his phone?
Well, shit, we stressed out of a cheesecake.
Open
Open up the titties, right?
You don't really feel that her treatment is aggressive enough. I mean, does he even care? Is he as aggressive as the prosecution? Who you said is a Chinese cook?
It's a 3-sex world.
He sounds like the actor from Hangover.
He sounds like the actor from Hangover.
Like the Hangover.
In the movie Knocked Up. Did you
Yeah.
see the movie Knocked Up?
Yeah, I
Remember when
saw
he was really aggressive?
And he was really aggressive. The doctor.
Her other 2 felonies?
Yeah. Oh, they are felonies.
I don't feel like
So this
her
is the 3rd felony.
Correct.
lawyer needs to be
But
aggressive.
it
She's
didn't
upset
happen.
because
That's
her lawyer's
just
not
it.
aggressive.
Well, it doesn't matter if it happened, but it has to be proven.
What is it? Like he doesn't need to be. You're trying
Well,
to
you
get
have a tape with her on it, with you on the show.
Right.
So there's the proof that she wasn't there. You see her on tape.
everything's already been going
Correct. On September 25th, the same day that he said she stabbed him and slashed him.
But she was on the East Coast.
Well, no, we taped it in August. It aired on September 25th. But we were all watching it together. Right. He's trying to say that she somehow left the viewing of it, went to his house, slashed and stabbed him, then came back and had burritos with him.
Did we tell you?
Where is the stab at?
Her best friend saying, "Oh, I lied because I was mad because I got upset."
What?
I paid somebody $200.
No.
That's on text.
He texted
How
to
do you know
Samaya?
that? But that should be at the, in.
Okay, is she gonna show that in court?
She showed it to, but you have to understand, and this is the saddest part, that it's really true. Like that can't be used as evidence.
A text can't be used as evidence?
Not necessarily. It can, but it'll be.
What is
yeah,
this? What is
because
she
it
mean? Why are you guys like?
Because they could say, okay, that's my phone number. How do you prove I texted? More aggressive.
They not gonna look at it.
How did she look? She's been in jail for 6 months.
How does she look?
How did she look?
I cried. Looking at her.
You and me are gonna have a
That was the
talk.
saddest thing I've ever seen. My heart was
You and me are gonna have a serious talk about this. Because this, you know, I'm gonna talk now. You do not need this in your life. Go ahead. You do not need this in your life.
Mama, you taught me to be loyal. I just can't.
I don't care. I also taught you to be careful about what your surroundings. Do you know that association brings on assimilation?
Yes.
I've told you this year after year, and you will listen to me. Whether you want to or not, nothing is that important. Now you're going to let this go, and you are going to divorce it. You got me? You have to go. You have to go tomorrow. And then you're going to get, what did I just say you're going to do? Tell me what I just said you're going to do. Divorce it. Repeat it back. Repeat it back. Because you're not taking this. This will take you down before you even climb. We're going to talk. We're going to talk. And you're going to listen or put you inside.
Everybody's turned their back on you.
Not your problem.
She's my wife.
We'll talk.
These are my wives.
We'll talk. And none of them are in jail.
I don't agree.
I don't either. Like,
Everyone deserves a second chance. I mean, you know?
But get her smelling and
You don't think
looking
after her
like
third time she's gonna learn a lesson? She's not gonna come
Bad
out.
things happen.
She's not gonna come out. She didn't went in the water.
This how you want to treat
I was
society.
with her. She couldn't tell it. But we were all for that night.
They almost okay.
Well, that's what I'm talking about.
Mom was trying to
She needs to be there. Like,
You talk
there's
about
no not going. You're going to go. You're going to tell her. Like, this will be the last time she needs to.
I do. I know her because I know her from Susan Real.
I just hope I never want to take a figure.
Wow. And
I know you have a big
Uncontrollable. I'm very offended.
It's like an animal that's like just gorgeous and no just
Well, when I looked at Patricia show, when I first seen it, things I bought a picture from your from the side. But Ty was the main one. I don't know her. I haven't just met her. Nothing. So just take it as no problem, whatever. But she was the main one, basically. They got the attention. It's like she was out there, just like, yeah, this is like
She's bold.
she's bold.
You gotta love her for that.
Yeah.
You can't
She's
change
bold.
someone that's bold like that. And whenever you get a chance to help them, especially if we love them, I'm not trying to make you cry,
she's
but
a
it's
free
like,
spirit.
if we love somebody, we can't just leave them right there. You know what I'm saying? I'm sorry, but like I feel it because
I'm gonna step in and say that. I mean,
I'm bold too. We're all bold. We're gonna stay into it because we're bold and we're strong. So what? We're not gonna just leave her there because
I'm not
something
saying leave her
happened.
there, but mom knows best though.
I mean, mom knows best,
in every
but
situation.
I mean,
So,
sometimes you gotta break away from that.
You know,
that
there's
may
a
not
passage
always
in the
be.
Bible that says, be not unequally yoked together. There's also another passage that says, come out from among them. Okay? And that's Bible. And so, when you're yoking with somebody, you want it to be on an even keel and an equal footing. and you don't want a disgrace in your home.
Mom, she's not a disgrace.
You don't want
Are we gonna
her.
leave her there? We're gonna leave her there. She's not a disgrace, and she needs help right now. So we're not about to leave
so
her.
then you help her. Nobody's saying leave her there.
Okay,
So
and then when we
you
help
give
her,
her the
and she
help.
gets back, then what? We
Then
leave
you,
her?
then you give her the help that she needs. But know this, excuse me, know this, that when she does come out, the next time will be something different and worse. Understand me? It doesn't get better. That kind of stuff doesn't get better. If you keep fucking up, if somebody keeps picking you up and dusting you off, then you go back and you do it again because you know that somebody's going to be there to pick you up and dust you off again.
Not only is her last time
But
gonna be
whose
different,
fault is
but
that?
But this time it wasn't her fault.
if she's improved as a person and she's learned from those pick-me-ups and because she's been dusted off, why can't we help her when it's not her fault if she was pushed off the cliff and she didn't fall this time?
Okay, and you're sure that she's pushed off the cliff?
Yes, I just don't believe she did that.
She
Because she did
on
it.
that
She
night
could
because
have.
we were with
Well,
her.
on
That
that
was the
night
day
you
of the
were
trip.
with her. On that night we were
On
with
that
her.
night.
On
She
that
has
night.
assaulted him before, but he's assaulted her before. But this particular night he lied. He picked the wrong night to lie. He said that he was stabbed on September 25th, which happens to be the...
She's drama.
Say something.
I mean,
She don't have.
I just have to just address this one issue. I know you don't mean any harm, Frida, but when you point out in front of these beautiful women, that's your wife, you totally disrespect them. After 25, 27 years of living this way, why can't you just accept
No, I'm just saying.
the marriage the way it is?
I'm just saying how I see it.
You don't consider them my wives?
They're your girlfriends. They're your girlfriends. They're friends.
And isn't she
With
Mom knows
privileges.
that.
Hello? Hi,
I
can we
was
help
wondering
you?
if I can get a picture with the TV.
Do we know you?
Sure.
Oh my God.
What's your name, girl?
We gotta get a picture of her because I needed that laugh.
We need some fun.
The reason why I think Mr. Lee, the prosecutor, kept running down, was I aware of her other felony charges, he wanted to simply drive that point home to the jurors that she was somehow a bad seed.
Right.
He wasn't trying to inform me. Were you aware? Were you aware? I'm like, what is your point? You want to try her for this based on stuff she did yesterday?
It's kind of like, she did this, and she did that. Have nothing to do with it. Like,
That's why he struck it.
she's a trouble child.
Yeah. And I took $1 from my mother's purse when I was 12. And the point is, what am I, Bernie Madoff?
And then he said, the judge said it really has to do with morality because of the identity theft and all of that stuff. And so that's why he was strongly advising her not to testify.
So when the judge ran down her prior, I was like, damn.
Thank God my mother wasn't there.
I know.
This bitch is crazy.
But Satai said on television, she said, everybody knows I'm crazy.
Yeah.
She said it on national TV, and if someone tells you who they are, believe them.
Glad they didn't play that part.
And then the judge said,
That's the part they should have
Everybody
played.
knows I'm too she is crazy.
and then the judge said,
170 South.
you had too many, it was, I see there's a lot of frequencies here. And then he said, then Mr. Lee tried to include the 2002 offense, and he was like, no, that's overtaken. So he's like, no.
Yeah.
God bless you.
Yeah.
Stop it.
He said, we're not going to even include that.
Get off of exit 6A, like Apple. Well, God forbid this ever happens to me. I hope somebody will stand and testify for me.
What do you think your mom would have said to you today?
Like water.
She said, what do you think my mother would have said to me today if she was there?
Yeah.
Oh. Eric, do it.
Oh. She would have told me this. Well, she already told me. She called me today. She says to me, listen, do what you have to do and then get that bitch away from you. I'm like, Mom, she said, get her away. You are building an empire. You don't need this kind of drama. And she's obviously needs to be put back wherever she came from for repairs. And you are not a repairman.
Right.
she ain't saying nothing but it's man.
That's my white packet.
But then, so what's going to happen when she gets out? Is she going to come to Vegas?
Well, as Kat said, we'll have a party for her.
And then a sit down.
A sit down. And we have a zero tolerance when it comes to things like this. They don't understand, you know, me and Wanda recognize that when we first started this lifestyle, we were as young as the people who were in it.
Yep.
So when we were in our 20s and we had spirit wives who were in their 20s, we were all grown up together.
Right.
Then we got in our 30s and spirit wives kept coming in sometime in their 20s. And it was cute. But then we hit our 40s and spirit wives kept coming in their 20s. We were like, okay, we're old enough to be their parents. So now Wanda's going to be 50 this year. I'm 47. And some of them are young enough to be our daughters. So at times when we were both in our 20s back in the 80s, it's very different. When you talk to someone now and they hit you back with, listen, my mother and my father, no one talking like, listen, little girl, I don't want to control you. But here's what, I've built an empire and your behavior's not going to fuck it up. Period, plain and simple. We don't drink, we don't smoke, we don't do drugs, there's a reason why. Because I'm a black man with several wives. Automatically, if I do any of those things, I'm a fucking pimp. Because that's the way they look at us. Oh, he got a bunch of women, they hoes, he's a pimp. I'm not. When you look at Hugh Hefner, no one calls him a pimp. You envy his lifestyle. So there's a certain way a goddess empire woman has to carry themselves to make sure the brand remains intact. And I'm intolerable of it all. It may seem a little harsh, but it's better for the brand, it's better for the family, because it's really not something we pretend to be. We don't do those things.
Right.
Because those things lead to other things. Like the shit we just went through today. And Satai loves those things. And it was always a problem with us.
Always.
A little toot here, a little tote there, a little joint here. We don't want none of that in our lives. Because I don't have this kind of drama in my life. The love you give is the love you get. You will reap what you sow. You want something different? Then do something different. Because if you always do what you've always done, then you'll always have what you currently have, which is bullshit.
What I currently need is iGPS. Can you please pass it over because I can't hear.
Sorry, but she asked.
But did she say 6B?
Riverdale, Riverside. 1.2 miles, exit 6A. Remember 6A Apple? Remember that?
Gotcha.
All right, till you get there. Don't bother me again. No, that's it. 6A Apple. Riverside is Drive is the title of the street.
You know,
I'm sorry, I just get a little passionate about it because everything I'm doing for them, I'm sorry, is to protect them from stuff that as an older person, we know how this movie ends. You do this, this happens. Remember, Whitney Houston knew it all too. And no one around her would tell her the fucking truth. Stop it. They just want to get a paycheck.
Mm-hmm.
Your real friends tell you the truth, whether you like it or not.
and you know, and me and Eric look like this because we made decisions.
We lived that truth
years ago. How we wanted to exist in our future and how we want to age.
I want energy and health.
Take exit 6A, then turn right onto Riverside Drive.
And Satai is one of the most hard-headed and most stubborn spirit wives we've ever had.
We have.
But it's still not enough for me to abandon her in a time of need.
Turn right onto Riverside Drive.
Sometimes it takes, you know, if you have more than one kid, you know all kids don't learn lessons the same way. One kid, you just teach them once, they got it. Another kid,
like me.
Well, one kid can just feel the heat from the flames. Oh, that's warm, that's hot, I won't do that again. The other one, it'll take a 3rd-degree burn. They're like, oh, I got it now that my nose is grafted to my lip.
And this is Satai's 3rd-degree burn.
Make a left on Colfax and we're there. The question is, what's my mother going to say to Satai when she sees her? That's the question.
Right? What is she going to say? What? Yeah.
She'll let her have it.
She's gonna give her a tongue lashing.
And Satai likes to flip off at the mouth, and that would be unwise and unhealthy to do that to Miss Peggy Blue.
Yeah.
You think American Idol calls her the vocal coach from hell? She's also she's the backhand from hell too.
Youngs Avenue.
Left on Colfax. And the address is 4000 Colfax.
To me, it seemed like something should have been resolved, like between the two of them. It shouldn't even get to
what
this.
The judge is saying. He said, because she's like, well, I feel like I can't say anything. And it's a lot I got to say. He said, listen. And she's like, that's a shame. He said, no, what's a shame? What is a shame is that you got to this point. with that innocent child involved, that you two as adults cannot be civil to one another and think about the child. They should be friends and say, let's raise this child together. We can't be together. We realize that.
4,000.
And
I was pausing.
Take it from
Does
there.
he know the address?
4,000. That's 4,700.
How about when Mr. Lee was trying to make an issue that if you cared so much about your spirit wife, how many times you call to check up? You called as many times as you should have called to check up on her.
I couldn't check up on her by just calling. What is she staying at a resort?
I know. It made it seem like, oh, she's at Motel 6. Go over and check up on her. But yeah, he realized that he could not penetrate you at all.
Well, like say with a clear conscience, in all my years I've never been penetrated, but thank you very much. By the way, the meeting we're going to right now, there's some producer there's a guy named James who works for a music producer who's supposed to be a producer of great renown.
And?
He won't tell us his name until we get there. Apparently the guy's supposed to be there. Now, I hope when I walk in, it's Rodney Jerkins or somebody I'm supposed to know right off the back, you know. He better be Swiss Beats or somebody. So, he is interested allegedly in working with sIAMeze.
Okay.
So, we're going to walk in there and see who this person is. And if it's bullshit, which we know I'm allergic to, I'll inch my neck and we'll all get the hell up out of there.
So wait for the scratch on the neck, John.
And they'll be like, oh, look at the time.
Oh, boy.
What's the guy's name? Well, I can't give out his name, but he wants to see sIAMeze and you about. I'm like, okay. He better be a household name.
He better be.
41. Let's help him find 4,000.
4,000?
Oh, you know who lives over here? I was